Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Lance McHan, getting ready to go live here in a moment. Just give me 1 second. Everything's getting fired up. Heritage time. You're waiting for the technical difficulties to be ironed out here.
Headphones, you guys?
Yes. Headphones live.
All right, live on Facebook.
All right.
Mic 1, mic 2. Tom got that outlaw music, man.
Right?
It's an outlaw.
Some good, bad, and the ugly. One moment. How's it going, everybody?
KXVS, the voice of Stockton,
Get ready to go
presents
live
the
here.
Lance McHan Show with your host, Lance McHan.
Hi, I'm Lance McHan, and this is the Lance McHan Show, brought to you by SellYourHomeStockton.com. I'm a local real estate agent here for Keller Williams. My license is BRE 019874449. And today we have Chef Paul here with Heritage Dining and Provisions. Thank you, Paul, for showing up.
Good morning, good morning.
How you doing today?
Another day, another dollar.
So let's get right into this. So I've known you for a few years. I met you when I moved in the neighborhood, and you were always cooking. So when did that drive to create food for everybody, when did that start? Because, man, I tell you what, that food is really good.
You know, I think for most of us, we have someone in our life. For me, it was my grandmother, my mother, my father. Sundays in an Italian family is a big deal. And
Traditional.
I kind of just really enjoyed the process of it from a young age. As I grew up and went off to college, I found myself cooking more than going out and buying fast food, which most college kids would do.
The
Probably
college
still
20.
do.
So you didn't gain the 20 pounds in college?
I might have gained a little more than that. With that said, I got involved in wines, and you know, wines kind of allows you to pinpoint certain palates and flavor profiles, and I think from that it gave me a pretty good base. Being a salesman first and foremost, I just found myself offering my services for small appetizer wine pairing parties. From there, a few knucklehead friends and myself decided to open a restaurant in Sacramento. I guess the best and worst times of my life. By the end of it, after about 5 or 6 years, crashed and burned. Moved back down to Stockton, not really knowing what I was going to do. And 5 years removed, I'm taking over the Waterloo Gunabachi, a.k.a. Heritage Dining. And here we are today. So back to your question, it started at a young age for me. I've always enjoyed being around the kitchen.
Yeah, I remember my grandma as a young age. She would always make a pot of spaghetti every day. And one time I said, "Grandma, why do you always make spaghetti?" She was like, "Babe, because you never know who's going to show up for lunch."
There you go. There you go.
And started from scratch. You know, nothing canned, all from scratch, except for the pasta. Of course, she didn't make that. She was
Kevin Costner got it wrong. It should have been, if you cook it, they will come.
Yes, yes. So I remember at the pool, you were like, "Hey, I got this huge opportunity," and you went up against some of the probably top names here in town as far as chefs, and I remember that joy and tribulation you had, jubilation. You were just so pumped up. Was it everything you thought it was going to be? And there had to be some growing pains in there.
You know, I've been pretty stubborn and pretty fortunate in life, and I thought this was going to be much like others, and it was going to kind of come easy to me, and absolutely, it was. It's probably been the toughest business venture I've ever gotten myself into. The hours, the different people you have to work with,
The personalities.
Personality. I don't get into that all too much. I don't take things personal, but yeah, there is a lot of personality.
You gotta be something to everybody. And I remember talking to you. You went all in. You went in 110%. You were like, nothing is gonna stop me. I remember you starting out. You were just kind of, there was those growing pains, and I come out and tried some of your food, and my son's best friend still talks about it, that jumbo to this day. He's like, remember that jumbo and that cornbread? You know, it was, you're able to bring joy.
I remember that day. That was the we had my wife and I decided to try to throw a kids festival, and yeah, that gumbo was a 3 or 4 day process, and there's no doubt if people like flavors, that's Flavor Town.
Oh man,
100%.
I still think about that every time I go out there. I'm like, you know, what's on the menu today? And touching on that, that's the unique thing about your restaurant. Tell the people what's the special thing, what sets you apart from any other restaurant in town.
You know, the unique thing as far as my restaurant is I answer to myself. So I definitely take a road less traveled when it comes to our preparation of food, how we source it. I am so fortunate, and myself and whoever's listening, we live in the most fertile valley in the world. I would put my life on that statement. What we could do here with our ground and these farmers, what they've done is, I mean, it's mind-numbing to think about where they've come from in the last 100 years. So I'm fortunate enough to go to the farmers market, which if anyone is ever there at 7 in the morning, you'll find me. I wish I could see some of these other chefs there, because the product is literally right here in our backyard.
So you're taking the concept farm to fork?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a...
Farm to fork.
We were speaking the other day, it's kind of a term, because technically all food comes from a farm. And it ends up on your plate. So you're talking more.
I call it farm dash to fork. This farm to fork thing is great. It sounds great. It makes your restaurant sound really cool. But we got a big box truck pulling up with a middleman. That's not farm to fork. Farm to fork or farm dash to fork to me is when you're working side by side with the farmers. Going back to the farmers market, I go to the farmers market, I say, hey guys, what you don't sell, come and drop it off. I don't even care what they drop it off. The product is so much fresher than anything you're going to get at the store. The longevity of it will last longer in my cold box than anything I get from these third party or middlemen. So I'm fortunate that the farmers always send me their best product and the freshest product. And how cool is that? I get to cook for these guys the product that they grow. And that doesn't happen all too often. But back to the farm to fork, it's something this community in general has done for a really long time. And you let some of these big name cities kind of grab that and run wild with it.
Yeah.
And,
like you said, we are some of the most fertile soil, the breadbasket of the world. And, you know, people probably don't know that.
It's scary.
The majority of the world's rice is produced right here in this valley.
Yeah, it's pretty scary if you look at the sheer numbers of what we produce. There's no one that's even close to what we produce here in San Joaquin Valley. It helps obviously to have, you know, their surrounding valley or surrounding counties as well.
Right.
But you know, we're such a niche area here, just with all the rivers coming through this town and the ground. And I mean, my God, you take the ground where I'm at out in East Stockton or Linden. Holy cow. I mean, that might be some of the most expensive ground in the world.
Right.
And because of the ground of what's in there. So, yeah, we're all fortunate, and I'd love to see more of you out there at the farmer's market.
Which farmer market do you hit up?
You know, I use the one, it's behind the mall over there. I think Sears right there.
Okay.
It's on Sundays. Saturdays, I know there's a farmer's market that's downtown, you know, and they actually get a lot of good accolades down there. It's one on the Asian side. It's one of the #1 markets in the nation.
Oh, really?
Right here in Stockton.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, and you know, you got to get kind of a strong stomach. They do sell some fish down there. It's still good, but it does have an unpleasant
that's
smell.
the premise of the show, is highlighting the spotlighting the big things that are going on in our valley, in San Joaquin Valley, especially Stockton. Trying to touch on that and letting people know these little hidden gems like Heritage Dining Provisions. To me, the other unique thing about your restaurant, which we have touched on privately, is your menu shifts. It's never the same. Why did you spoke of a road less travel? Why did you choose to go down that?
You know, you just, as a chef, you get bored. You absolutely get bored cooking the same menu for 3 months, 4 months, and that's what most restaurants do, and I'm not knocking them for that. And the capacity that they have to run their business, it makes sense for them to do it. I'm fortunate that my facility is more so known as an event center, and I'm really trying to bring the day-to-day operations. So with that being said, I'm not smashing 100 meals a day on my day-to-day operations. I might have 30, 40, 50 people come, and every one of them goes, my goodness, I can't believe this food was here. So I don't have to put a lot into it, and because the nature of how I collect our produce and everything, it allows me to really change our menu up. My chef buddy Odell, between him and I, he's more culinary trained, and I'm again, road less traveled. I don't
traditional, like a little this, a little that.
Well, I'm a savory chef. I don't use recipes. I don't look at cookbooks. I've never had the option of learning from other chefs.
Grandma never used a cookbook.
No, God, no. And honestly, I think most chefs, when they write that cookbook, they gotta leave something out, because I don't want to give you all my secrets.
Right.
So it's lent itself to where we're able to really cook different food almost on a daily basis. We also do one at the end of the month. The last Friday of the month, we do what I call our Heritage Pop-Up Dinner, and we take cultural foods. This coming up next Friday on the 30th, we're going to do an Argentinian all live fire. So everything will be cooked in live fire. I'll use the 7 degrees of flames, even down to where you take the coal bed and you cover vegetables up and you slow cook them that way. Salt crusted fish, hanging 103 cuts, which is this huge, massive tomahawk. It's like the tomahawks most restaurants sell in this town, except it has an extra 5 to 6 inches on the bone.
So what is a tomahawk for those people?
Tomahawk is it's an export cut, and they leave the short ribs. So it's left.
Beef?
It's beef.
Okay.
It's beef, and this particular it's Piedmontese Ranch, and they're a grass-fed beef. And Argentinian food is historically grass-fed just because of the plain. So we're trying to keep it as authentic as we can to the Argentinian style, and just adding our Northern California flair to it. So I do implore people to come out and check that out. We're also going to be starting a brunch at the last Sunday of every month, just once a month. Again, we're known as an event center. I got to give my guys rest here and there before we all go down to Mexico and never come back.
Right, retire.
Yeah, that's right.
Those Piedmontese steaks are pretty darn good. I was in there one day, and you were cooking some up and cutting it fresh right there. It doesn't come. It comes in a big old vacuum sealed meat, and you cut it right there. It's
a special cut of meat. You know, most corn-fed beef, they like to wet age it. With the Piedmontese, the fibers in it and the way they grow it, you don't necessarily need that. So it's a much fresher piece of meat. I think
tender.
you and I were talking about the color of it. It is, it's a lighter red, and the tenderness, just the way the grass fed lends itself to it. It really is something special.
So when you the Argentinian beef, how are you going to cook that?
I'm going to get an Argentinian cross, and you literally, if you look at the topography of Argentina, I mean, there's a lot of mountains, so they kind of would travel through the mountains, and they would just cook as is. So I will literally cook food over open flames.
Wow.
So I mean, this is going to be one of those dinners where you'll want to be a part of the cooking crew the whole evening. We'll probably start hanging that meat around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we probably won't pull it off till 6 or 7 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
But it's a live fire show. This is nothing like this. I don't know too many other restaurants that do this style. We won't even be using our ovens or water. I mean, we're going to literally cook everything.
When you say show, people get out and enjoy the atmosphere of a big cookout?
It's right in front of the window. So I have a 100-person restaurant, and that's on the bar side, and then I have a 380-person hall. So I hope to get these pop-up dinners. I'd love to fill them in. You know, the most I think I had was last month. We did an Italian, and I think we had about 125 people show up. I'm pretty comfortable cooking for about 100. We don't really put a lot of information out other than verbiage or person to person until a few days before. So keep an eye out for it. If you're looking at Facebook or Instagram or any of that stuff, look up Heritage Dining. It's the best way we're getting our information out for our company right now.
Do you do catering as well?
Oh yeah, we do off-site catering, in-house. We have a special division of our company that we go and do private dinners. Previous to taking over this facility, that's what I was doing. Really high-end, 6, 7, 8, 10-course wine pairing dinners. So we do. We would like to get back into that now that we've
Get
kind
back
of.
to your niche.
Well, we understand our battle. It's been 9 months, and I think you hit on it. It was tough, and I wish I could say I was perfect, and I wasn't. But darn it, we're getting good now.
Yeah, it's come a long way.
Yeah.
The restaurant is beautiful. So people could host weddings, any kind of events there.
Weddings, funerals, quinceañeras. We have it's 45 acres, people. Most people think it's a private club, and that's the furthest from the truth. It did start out that way back in the 20s, but I am absolutely a capitalist. I like anyone's green as much as anyone else's. So, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And I guess if I was a part of the old oligarch, I probably wouldn't want people to know that it's not a private club. Keep that little hidden gem. But no, I'm here telling the world that I'm open.
I'm open for business. And
7 days a week.
Great.
7 days a week.
If you cook it, they will come.
If
right?
you cook it, they will come.
Right. So, where is this located at?
So I'm on the east side of Stockton. Most people, when I tell them I'm the owner of the Waterloo, they assume it's the Waterloo Club. I'm not the Pesto and Ribs, although I do Pesto and Ribs as well. We are located off of Ashley Lane. And again, people get me confused with the Italian Athletic Club. There's 2 Italian clubs out there. Both I implore you guys to come and visit. The IAC has a really nice
So you're not stingy. You want to spread the wealth. You want to take care of the valley.
I'll tell you, man. Teamwork to make a dream work, people. It's Sacramento. The restaurant industry was so different, and I have a few really good friends in the restaurant industry that they run their own restaurants, and they've been really nice. But this town is really closed off to some aspect. Outsiders, and I moved back. I lived here, born and raised for 20 years, and went away for 15, 16 years, and came back, and I felt like I was an outsider. So I was just kind of shell-shocked to see how restaurants, they're starting to come around now. I think people are starting to realize that all of us together can make a difference.
And there's 300,000 people in Stockton alone. There's plenty of...
You would think, but most people go to a handful of restaurants that they or their families have been going to forever because of the history or the heritage, hence the name Heritage Dining. And I get that, but like I said, I implore people to go and give every restaurant. Let's say you don't have a good experience. You know what? Go back. We can't all be on our game every single day. A little different for me on the event side. Those are a little bit easier to prepare for, but I felt equally as much on some of my meals that I've cooked just because you're overwhelmed. So that's another thing in this town. I've noticed a lot of people go and do social media stuff and badmouth people. And
I saw that on when you were first getting started.
Yeah.
And I commend you. Somebody had complained about the food, and you're like, you know what? Come out, man. Come out.
What can you do?
Come out and meet me. Talk. Well, let's talk. Let me understand your grievance. And when we're done, I'll buy you dinner.
Yeah.
And how many other people would have offered that olive branch? I don't know too many. I thought that was pretty big of you to even accept that criticism and then offer to buy the guy lunch after that or dinner.
What do you do? Kill him with kindness until you can't.
But just that step, I think, sets you apart from most people.
I can't, like I said, I wish I was batting 100 for 100.
Yeah, we're not all perfect. But in cooking, you look away one moment and something's burned, or it didn't come out right. your guy put too much salt in it. You salted it. He salted it. It's, you know.
I'd rather have you wait at my restaurant and be mad for waiting for a good meal than send you out that salty or overcooked one.
Absolutely.
And I tell people that all the time. You know, we do get behind sometimes.
And we're cooking for you.
Yeah, here it is.
This isn't fast food.
Yeah. What do you want? You want it to be the best it can be, or do you want us to expedite this process and get it on time? And typically we're talking 10 or 15 minute lag time. But no, it's hard. You know, people always look at
back
me
there.
and you're cooking for 300. I implore anyone just to go and cook for 30,
right?
And try to time all that out. I mean, it's hard. It's harder than people think.
Yeah.
You know, most people compare it to cooking for 4 or 5 people at home, and you know that's pretty easy to juggle. A glass of wine in hand, and it's not like that.
I was
on the
out
back
there
of our
for
kitchen.
the cherry growers doing a little footage out there, and there was probably 100 people there, maybe a little more.
No, that was about a 225 person party. Yeah,
okay,
that was it. It's well, you know that's
I didn't count the plates.
Don't underplay me. That's 4,000 people. No, that in our hall you could fit up to 380. So I could see it was a good day.
And you were everywhere. And you know, hey, we need this, boom, boom, boom. But when the food started coming out, people were happy. They were like,
they better be.
Yeah, I mean, those brownies looked amazing.
Yeah, those desserts. I mean, I think even that day, I think they were amazed. We even did homemade, house-made scones and cinnamon rolls and bran muffins. I mean, we literally do everything in house. I have started recently cheating and not using our bread on everything. I'm using another well-known company here in town just for a few sandwiches because we make this focaccia bread that I would put it up against most. It's you know, I don't know, it's in between a ciabatta and a focaccia or fagazza, depending on who you're talking to. It's a really wet dough and it just takes time. We really let it rest and just little things like that. I mean,
taking the extra step to make that bread really good.
Don't cut any corners at Heritage Dining.
I saw the rack of it. I was like, man, I wish I had a plastic bag with stuff a loaf in my jacket.
No. We got security guards.
Armed guards around the bread.
Yep, it's around the bread.
And the recipe. Yeah, it was you moved, man. I'm impressed. It's like to be able to, like you said, every course has to come out. Everything has to be timed. Some things come.
It's muscle memory. You know about that stuff. And for me, when I walked into this facility, I've only done a handful of large events. Like I said, there's really no map for a facility like this. I had a restaurant in Sacramento. I kind of knew what to expect. I knew I'd do 200 covers on a Friday and a Saturday night, and that was it. So it was kind of easy for me to do. This juggling a restaurant and a lunch, and you know, it requires a lot of learning. So yes. I tell people my bell curve was a little bit bigger than most, but I mean my team, I
think you're pulling it together quite well.
I'll tell you, I am blessed. Majority of my team from day one is still there, and the synergy that we have, I mean, it's second to none. On the large event side, you know, again, we're learning the growing pains of dealing with the day-to-day operations, but again, I'm known as an event center and trying to do a little more. So it takes time, man. It takes time.
You're doing a great job, and again, the food speaks for itself. So
yeah, I implore. Hey, I'll buy your meal if it's not good. I will buy your meal.
Dude, be careful.
No. I will buy your meal if it's not good. You know, but give me a good reason. Tell me it's burnt or off flavor. Yeah. There's no tomfoolery here. I'm not going to just buy your. If it's bad,
I'll own it. But
it's not going to go out bad. I mean, we have 3 or 4 layers of testers that take a back of a spoon and test sauce. It's.
Yeah, I was looking at what you did with that salad. Just so bright.
Yeah, colors.
And that comes from.
Colors. You eat with your eyes first, but no, I am so amazing. Camp Azul Farms, they literally are adjacent to my property. They mirror my property. They're about 60 yards away. I mean, my God, 60 years. So farm to fork.
It's literally.
It is 90 miles by the way the crow flies. So we're fortunate enough here that we could get to Salinas and that area by the way the crow flies to get a lot of their produce that we can't necessarily grow here. But that's 60 yards away. That's farm to fork, you know. I mean, I don't have to go right now. I just picked up several hundred pounds from King's Crown, which is asparagus. People, if you're listening, go buy some asparagus.
Locally grown asparagus.
Drive out there. It's so sad. 20, 25, 30 years ago, 4,000 acres. There's 400 acres. No one wants to spend the money for the best grass in town. Go buy some asparagus and support these local farmers, people.
So where are they located at?
They're out on Roberts Island. They have their big packing shed out there. It's called King's Crown. I think it's Tracy Boulevard. It's on the furthest west of San Joaquin County, and I think if you're in Lodi listening, I think Phillips Farms carries it. I think Podesto's here in town is pretty good at carrying that product. I'm not sure too many of the other grocery stores if they pay. If there's a big discrepancy, you get the grass. Grass is what the farmers out there call it. You get the asparagus down in Mexico, and it's let's call it $25 a box, and the same pound from here is $75. So you're talking a 66% increase, but you're buying local. I think if people would do what's right, they would buy that product, but most have profits in front of their process and why they do things. And that's one thing we've always lent ourselves out, is we will never put profit in front of product at Heritage Dining, which is, it makes me feel good. It was a small car payment to get that asparagus, but you know what? Everyone that's coming, they say, my God, and it's get the jumbo, people. Don't get the skinny ones. I implore you guys to reach out to me. We're even thinking about to help them kind of generate some funds, thinking about doing some tours out there. If you want to come and see how asparagus is picked.
Weren't you going to do one today?
Yeah, we did. Their Mother Nature played a little trick. I had 25 students coming down from Sacramento. And, I on several levels, people reach out to me. I got farmers in my back pockets every side of this valley. There are some of the coolest packing sheds and distribution centers here. I implore people to do a little more ag tourism. People go to France and they see how wine's done. Oh my gosh, people, we got it right here in our backyard. Go give these guys a chance.
I understand where our food comes from. And I think there's a big movement towards that. People are wanting that fresh, organic touch. But helping them understand what fresh really means and organic is.
Yeah, that's like farm to fork, organic. I mean, what does that mean? Or artisanal breads, what does that mean? I mean, I get it, but if you people do a little bit of research on how you become an organic farm, my God, only in America do we make the farmer pay $50,000 for paperwork just to give the people a better product. Yet you could be on the other side of it and not be organic. And mind you, there's a lot of farms out that aren't certified organic, but they're pretty darn close.
They still produce a great product.
My judge of a character of a farm, I walk through the farm with the guy, and if he picks up a product off of his floor, whatever he's growing off the ground, and he eats it, guess what? He's not going to poison himself.
Right.
That's a good judge of character.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of the organic. But again, I implore people to go educate themselves on it. And just, again, buy local. Go to the farmer's market. Farmer's market. These farmers pick it that morning. I mean, you're not
going to pick it early that morning before we're all up. They're picking it.
Or it may have one day. I'm not going to say everyone picks it that day, a larger. But I promise you, the stuff in that apple that you guys are all buying right now that was harvested in October, that you guys are getting at the grocery store, it's been in the cold box for 6-7 months. Wow. I mean, I don't know. It's just buy local, support local. Right. It's really simple. You get a better product. You get a bigger bang for your vitamin intake and everything else. I mean, the longer those things sit off the vine, the less nutrients they have. I mean, it's just
a little health nutrition.
It's here for us, people. It's hard. I get it. I Sundays is supposed to be my day off. But I find myself at the farmer's market at 7 in the morning. No, I get days off. My guys are good. I mean, very few.
But you're all. I mean, you're always working, whether you're at work or at home. Your mind is always running. And sometimes you don't get any sleep. I was up at 3 o'clock this morning thinking I couldn't go back to sleep. It was killing me. And then about 5 o'clock. I think I fell asleep for about 45 minutes and then I was back up.
Yeah,
thinking about this show, thinking about, I can't wait to have Chef Paul on. I've been with you since day one and supporting you and trying to help bring awareness and because I believe in your product.
No, and you have. I'll tell everyone listening, you supported me probably when most wouldn't. You helped us sponsor some of our large parties, and that my wife and I will forever be grateful. And it's a battle, man. I knew what I was getting into. I thought it was going to go different. It hasn't. So you adapt and overcome.
Right.
And I am now on to the next battle. The battles I was having 8 months ago are no longer. Now my battles are making this place run more like a business as opposed to how the heck am I going to get people to come into this place, or how am I going to book parties? I mean, I think for this year, almost every Saturday night is already booked out.
Wow.
I'm into 2019. I probably have 19 Saturdays booked out. So almost, I mean, it's getting there. December, we finally got on all cylinders. 85% of my business rebooked the night of the party.
Oh, wow.
95% of all my business in December rebooked for next year. So my December is already mirrored next year. From a business standpoint, restaurants, we don't get that.
Yeah, you can't.
We don't get that luxury. So that's why months like that gives me the luxury to be able to provide I don't want to say a better product. I want to say a different product, a little different thought process on how I get the produce and everything else. I'm able to spend a little more time on that side just because of the nature of the event center. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
So where do people find you?
Oh man, Facebook. You can get onto our Heritage Dining and Provisions. I also have a private food page, which kind of takes you back for the last 4 years of my life here in town. And I got to work with some wonderful families and wonderful wineries. That's the Paul Ratto's food page. And that would really give you an in-depth look of my journey. I mean, you could literally look at what I did 4 years ago as I was honing my skills in. And to think when I was 30 with my first restaurant, I thought I was a good chef. My God, that was the furthest thing from the truth. I was probably a better salesman back then.
Right.
But now I really have, with the last 4 years of kind of having a lull time in my life comparative to now, it really allowed me to really sink my teeth into this community and understand the wants and needs. And I got to look at it from a reverse, almost like a reverse engineering phase, to where I got to see what people liked and what I could push. And that's why with these pop-up dinners, I'm kind of utilizing my private dinner group, because my pop-up dinners are a little bit more expensive than you would normally see. But people that come, you come once and you go, my gosh, you go to San Francisco or Sacramento, that's $150 evening.
Right.
Easy.
And you gotta drive.
Well, and you gotta drive.
And you can take Uber out to his place.
Uber is $12, people. $12. It is, and if you get that one sober, we all have that friend that owes us a sober drive night.
Right.
Then honestly, we have a few limo companies that we partner up with. We're doing bachelor party, bachelorette parties. We're picking them up in a limo bus, taking them to wineries, bringing them back, doing bocce and bourbon. We have a pizza oven. This place is going to be pretty cool once I finally figure it out. So I hope people start coming and visiting me.
Yeah. And what's the address again?
4343 North Ashley Lane, off of Highway 88. It's east of Highway 99. Pretend you're going up the mountain, and you'll see Ashley Lane, and you make a left. It's where the St. Michael's Church is, on that road right there.
And what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You know, I would send us an email at info@heritagedining.net. That's info@heritagedining.net. And/or feel free to give us a call at 209-931-0323.
Great. Join me next week, next Wednesday at 10 a.m., where I'm going to have C.R. Porter, our local interior designer, on my show. He's going to be talking about what it takes to design a space. How do you make it look beautiful? Again, thank you for watching the Lance McHan Show, brought to you by SellYourHomeStockton.com.
Heritage Dining. See you soon, people.
Have a great day.
That was fun.
All right.